Welcome back, Dogs. My name is Chef Eliot. Welcome back to campus. Great to have you guys. Love to see that everyone's here. Hopefully it's going to be a great fall, and we're going to make it as best as we can. Today, we're going to do a couple of cooking things. So today we're going to do our baked chicken teriyaki, and we're also going to do our brown fried rice. So we're going to jump right into it. So for our baked chicken teriyaki, we're going to first off start by making our marinade. Our marinade is going to consist of half a cup of brown sugar, packed brown sugar, half a cup of tamari gluten-free soy sauce, quarter cup of apple cider vinegar, one garlic clove that we've minced up. Make sure that all gets out of there. Half a teaspoon of ground ginger. Quarter teaspoon of black pepper. And we've chopped up 2 scallions, but we're only going to use half for this portion of the marinade. Just like that. And we're just going to whisk this together until all of the sugar has started to dissolve. Now it's time to add our chicken thighs. So, add just like this. Make sure they move them around, and so the marinade kind of covers everything. So we're going to want to cover this and marinate it for a minimum of 4 hours. Overnight also works just fine. So to prevent you guys from hanging out with me for 4 more hours, we've already gotten some that we made previously. It's going to be looking just like this. You can see, you know, the soy sauce is really starting to color the chicken thighs. So looking really good. And so we're simply going to put these onto a baking pan so we can put them in the oven. I always like to put parchment down. It helps for cleanup, especially when you have soy sauce or things like that, or sugary items. When you put them in the oven, they'll start to really bake and really get all that nice caramelized flavor. And it sticks to the food. Unfortunately, it also sticks to the pan, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to get off the pan when you're washing the dishes. So I put parchment down, and just makes life easier. So we will do this. Excellent. Put that right there. Oh, actually. So with the remainder of the marinade that you have, we're actually going to heat this up right quick and make it into more of a sauce. So have a pot right here. We're just going to dump the remainder of the marinade. We're going to add 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of water. Take this off. And then we're going to just whisk it. It'll be clumpy like that. That's fine. That'll actually start to dissolve when we start to heat it up. So quickly whisk that together. Turn this on. We'll let that heat up for just 1 second. I'm going to go wash my hands. So we always got to make sure we're washing our hands, especially when dealing with raw chicken. And washing our hands, obviously very important in these times, especially in food service or handling anything. Anyway, we always want to wash our hands for 20 seconds and then rinse off with warm to hot water. We don't have to burn ourselves. We don't want to be using cold water at the end of time. So 20 seconds, or happy birthday twice, or there's actually a number of different ways you can do the 20-second rule. you have it. Here, so close to boiling. And the thing with cornstarch, it will actually start to thicken once it comes to a boil. So don't be discouraged if it's starting to get warm and you're like, it's not really thickening. As soon as the liquid reaches a certain temperature, the cornstarch will kind of activate and start to really thicken things up, which we are almost there. And so yeah, right in here, we're all nice and starting to bubble, just like that. So we will shut this off. I will put this over here. And we're just going to spoon just a little bit of the sauce just right over top. Let's go put this in the oven.
That's a simple one.
All right. We're going to put this in the oven, 425 degrees, for 15 to 20 minutes. Now, I actually have some pretty small chicken thighs here, so I'm going to start it out with 10, kind of see where we're at from there. All right, let's go make some fried rice. All right, now it is time for our brown fried rice. Something that I know we do here, at least in many of our units, we use brown rice instead of white rice. White rice, served, obviously the more traditional of the two. I like to use brown rice, makes me feel a little bit healthier about myself, but also just as delicious, ends up with the same product for me at least. So that's why we're going with brown rice. So for me, for this recipe, I always like to use a little bit of pan spray just to help me keep things from sticking too much. If you at home, if you have a non-stick pan, I would recommend that, so at least for the dishwashing aspects. And we'll go from there. That's all. We'll get things started up. I am using kind of a larger pan than you would really need, just so you guys can see what we're doing. At home, you don't need to use this big of a pan.
What level of heat are you on?
Right now, we're going to want to heat it up over medium-high heat to start it off. Later in the process, we're going to turn it down when we start adding other liquids and things like that because we don't want them to burn. But for right now, start off with medium-high heat. So, first, we're going to add 1 small onion that we've diced up. We're going to want to saute this, quickly move it around, just for about 2 or 3 minutes until the onions are sweated, meaning that the onions are just a little bit translucent and they look slightly cooked, but they're not like fully cooked or caramelized or anything like that. Give that another couple of seconds. Hope moving day, the weather gets better. We had such a great day yesterday, and of course, it's supposed to rain for the rest of the week. So hopefully, if you're seeing this, you're all moved in and none of your stuff is wet, and you're having a good time. So we're getting pretty close here. start adding the rest of our ingredients here as I keep flinging onions everywhere. All right, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. You can also use canola oil or any other oil that you. I know avocado oil is very popular and very good for you. I'm actually going to, since I have this thing on ripping hot, I'm going to actually turn it down to about medium. Next, I'm going to add 2 cloves of garlic that we've minced up, followed by 1 teaspoon of chopped ginger. Let this saute up for a second. Just for 1 minute here. Next, I'm going to add a 1/4 cup or a 1/2 cup of peas, excuse me. Frozen peas are just fine. And a 1/2 cup of shredded carrots. I know matchstick carrots that you see at the grocery store, those will also be good for you. All nice. All right, and that is going to be our rice. Now, we have 3 cups of cold brown rice. And for me, it's always very important that you make the rice cold when you're using fried rice. It helps keep the starch kind of contained in the rice. If you were to use warm rice, it would get very sticky and very gummy very quickly. And when you start off with cold rice, it just gives you a little more time to add things and saute things before it kind of locks up and it's just kind of this ball of rice. So 3 cups of cold brown rice. Just a smidgen. Next, we're going to add 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, or tamari, excuse me, or gluten-free soy sauce. And 3 tablespoons of oyster sauce. Mix this around. Here, I'll bring it in for you. Now, all the liquid is in. We want to turn this down pretty low here. Keep going the wrong direction. There we go. Pretty low, because now that you've had the soy sauce and the oyster sauce in, things will start to burn if you leave the heat too high, and we still have to cook the eggs. So, get this going right here. And for me, for my eggs, I like to put it just kind of right in the center. These are just 2 eggs that have been whisked together. I like to put it right in the center, just like that. Start to scramble it up. It'll take a second. There we go. 2 tablespoons or 3 tablespoons, excuse me, of scallions right into the center of the eggs right here. That way we're all nice and scrambled. All right, and now that these are scrambled, now we'll kind of move off the heat and we'll start bringing in the rest of our eggs here. Or not our eggs, the rest of our rice. Excuse me. All right, so this is done. We're gonna let this hang out for a second. We're gonna go check on our chicken. Oh yeah. So, kind of like I said, this is also the very good reason why you use parchment paper, because you'd have to be cleaning all of this. Like I said, the chicken thighs that I was using are very small, so we're right at the 10-minute mark. So we're going to call this good. So bring it up, put it all together. All right. Gloves. So now we're going to take our rice. That right there. A little extra. We're going to take some of our chicken thighs here. Down like that. Down like that. I have a little white and black sesame seeds here. Just a little fancy. And that, dogs, is going to be our baked teriyaki chicken with our brown fried rice. Thank you much for watching this video. Please have a great time this fall and this year. Always glad to see you. Welcome back to the University of Washington. And thanks so much for watching.